Welcome to Tech Intersect. I'm your host, Tanya Evans, and my life and work exist at the heart of law, business, and technology. Yeah, I've earned a few fancy titles and degrees over the years, but the bottom line is I'm a writer, speaker, teacher, and lifelong learner, and I'm really excited that you've joined me on this journey. So what is Tech Intersect? Well, it's authentic, empowering conversations with really interesting guests who demystify complex topics to prepare you for the future, because your future is now. And it exists where law, business, and tech intersect. Get ready to listen, learn, and leverage. Let's get started. In this episode of Tech Intersect, I chat with Julia C. Rock, the founder of Rock Career Development, a career solutions firm that helps POC corporate professionals in particular to earn more income and secure fulfilling job opportunities where they can truly thrive and achieve their career potential. Julia is a career and leadership development coach, certified professional resume writer, and certified employment interview professional. Through her signature coaching methods, clients are able to secure dream positions while earning their worth and then some. Julia has been featured in several major publications and platforms, including Fortune, Business Insider, Monster, and Blavity. Time to listen, learn, and leverage. So let's get started. Julia C. Rock, founder of Rock Career Development, asks this simple question: if you're really ready to reimagine and reinvigorate your career for a next level experience. You're an expert in your field, but does it show? Rock Career Development is the cheat code for ambitious Black and Brown professionals who are ready and willing to break through and achieve the next level in their corporate career. And Julia is the one to lead you to that promised land because she is a certified professional resume writer, employment interview professional, and career consultant. And she believes it's time for you to step up and claim your position in the leadership lane, especially as we near the end of 2020, which, oh my goodness, it's proving personally and professionally to be the longest decade. Yes, this year is a decade. It's the longest decade of our lives. We will talk about all of that and how you position yourself to win even in the midst of all of this. We'll do all that and more in a moment. But first, Julia, my Twitter bestie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, by the way. I was like, wait, does that mean?
I can be hired. I know we're not doing IRL things, but I'll show up on any Zoom and big you up. I'm a huge fan, but you already know that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And before we jump into the episode, I am asking, especially for powerful people who are dynamic and moving in the space, I count myself in that fold in some respect. A lot of times people see us, and our personalities online and think everything's worked out, no problems here, nothing to see here. And so I'm authentically and legitimately checking in on you. How are you doing, just personally in the midst of this pandemic?
Man, this has been a year for sure. I'm just so grateful that I'm a person of faith because I feel like if I wasn't a person of faith, that things would have definitely gone much worse this year. In the middle of a pandemic, I also moved from Baton Rouge back to, I was living in Houston a couple years ago, and then I moved to Baton Rouge. And in the middle of this year, they moved me back to Houston through my corporate career. And so that was stressful because I was still trying to maintain my business, trying to, do the right, do the highest level of work on a daily basis, try to be there for my team that I was managing and transitioning at the time, and then just trying to still live personally. And so it was just a tough summer. Typically summertime is lighter and you're enjoying life, but man, summer was rough. It was just a rough time. So I'm just so grateful that I've been able to wade through that now and get into a much better headspace as we're trying to get ready and prep for 21. But yeah, the summer was rough. Like I said, I'm just glad I'm a person of faith, because I feel like otherwise it may have broken me a little bit.
Absolutely. I completely understand that. And I moved from New Hampshire and my previous position as associate dean of the law school at UNH Law. and just moving in a pandemic, remove all of the other things, is its own level of stress. I know that moving and getting a new place is up there on the list of most stressful events in the best of circumstances. So I applaud you for doing that. You sound great. I see you online doing some really wonderful things. So it's also good to hear that you and yours are well.
Thank you.
So talk to my listeners about your origin story. Everyone who comes on Tech Intersect has this really, sometimes it's a long and winding road. Sometimes it's a straight path. Mine certainly was not straight, but I honor those who had the straight path. But always interested to know, given what you are doing now, what your professional path was to this moment in time.
Sure. So when I was in college, I was dead set on doing finance. My dad did finance, and it was stable. You'd always have a job because there's always going to be some company that needs you to tell them that 2 + 2 = 4.
Right.
So that was always going to be a viable career path, and that's what I was focused on. But while I was in college, I also started spending a lot of time in the Career Services Center for my business school, because it's great to have the knowledge, but how are you going to actually get a job? Because having the knowledge and getting a job are two different things. And so I spent a ton of time in there. The coordinators in the office, I feel like if they didn't see me, I would get an email about, hey, we didn't see you in the office today, because I spent so much time there. And at that time, I just began to soak up as much knowledge as possible. So I was still staying on the finance track, but really got into career development, writing resumes, being prepared for interviews, etc. And at that time, I then began to provide my friends and family members with resume help, because as I built expertise, I wanted to share that with those in my circle. And so I got into my career. I was actually in financial services, and I was an analyst there for a few years. And in the back of my mind, I still had that career development idea. And so I was still helping friends on the side, but never thought about business, never thought about being an entrepreneur. So then I actually went back to school, got my MBA, and it's when I started my new role in finance, but in oil and gas, that the entrepreneur bug kind of hit me. I had actually coached one of my good friends to his first 6-figure job, and he said, "Hey, I'm happy for the free help, but I really think you should start charging for this." And I started musing over it a little bit. But then at the same time, I was going to career fairs for my day job, and I was noticing the stark difference in performance from Black candidates versus non-Black candidates. It seemed like the Black candidates were not as polished for some reason. And I know it wasn't for lack of intellect or skills or knowledge, because you can read their resumes and see the schools they go to, but just the way that they were coming to me at my booth and positioning themselves, there was just such a stark difference. They just didn't seem as polished or professional.
Right.
And so at that time I said, if I've got these skills and I've been giving them away for free, I'm getting results, could I then transition this to helping more people who look like me, help level the playing field for them when it comes to getting careers and getting the jobs that they want? Because they've got the skills, they're no less than anyone else, but they don't have the information that they need to position themselves well. And so it was at that time where I said, I can make this a business and really start to work for my own. And so I've still continued my corporate career, but that's really how I got into formalizing that passion and that learning for career development, really forming that into a business.
I love that so much. And that's a great lead into sharing with the listeners more about Rock Career Development Services and how the services can help people reimagine their careers and their goals, their job search, especially in the midst of a pandemic.
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I find is that most times when it comes to career development and job searching, people are just stuck in their own minds about what they think they can achieve because they're the ones who are looking at their own experience and they're looking at their resumes or just looking at their own accolades and so they put themselves in a box. And
Mm.
so with Rock Career Development, what we do is we really help Black and Brown professionals to break through career plateaus, break through those mindset barriers about what you can achieve, break through the boxes that other people have put you in from a skill set perspective to really find opportunities that are fulfilling for you, but also will pay you. I mean, fulfilling is great, but fulfillment doesn't exactly pay the bills. You know what I mean?
That part,
so,
yes.
so it's also about making sure that you're able to secure the compensation that you're looking for. And so we do that through writing services. So we provide a full suite of writing services. So resumes,
Hmm.
cover letter, LinkedIn profile optimization, because that's how people are going to get the first impression of you. If they don't meet you somewhere and they just see your application, you need to look polished and packaged on paper properly. So we specialize in providing high quality writing services. But then in addition to that, we provide coaching services and it starts from job search strategy all the way through comprehensive 360 almost career coaching.
Hmm.
So whether it's job search strategy, interview preparation, personal branding and networking, salary negotiation, whatever it may be to help you get to that, get to that level or that career goal. We provide those coaching services to make sure that you're thinking about your career the right way. It may not be that you have to go back to school, or it may not be that you don't have the skills, because too often we think we don't have the skills for something. It may just be that you need the right coach to help you to better view your experience, better change your mindset about the work that you've already done, really take a good
Hmm.
holistic look at everything you've done in your career and really figure out how can we position that to get you to the goal of your dreams. So what I like to tell people is I'm a packaging expert. So
Mm.
even if you don't think you have it, I can probably get you to package and position yourself such that you do have it for anyone who's looking. So that's really how I would describe it, is that we can help you, especially in the midst of this pandemic right now, where so many people have to pivot careers. It's important to really assess all the experience that you have, because just because you have something in experience in one industry, that doesn't mean it can't be translated to another industry that is maybe more COVID friendly. Let's just
Right.
call it that, or something where you can be more adaptable to the changing kind of digital and technological environment. You can have skills that are transferable, but you may need someone to help you think through that a little bit, because it may not have been a possibility that you had thought about before. So that's really what we've been focusing on now, as we've been going through the pandemic, is really helping people to pivot and think about the best way to pivot where they can still leverage skills that they have.
Hmm.
Or if there's opportunity for them to gain skills, what's the right way to go about doing that to still make sure they're able to secure the careers of their dreams?
I love that so much because I think of my own career and this lane that I have created for myself over the last 3.5 years in crypto in particular. An intellectual property and entertainment lawyer by training, and I practiced for 10 years. And then in my 14th year, teaching future lawyers in law school. But, I kind of fell into, in some sense, it's weird to express it that way given what I'm doing in the crypto and blockchain space now and teaching blockchain cryptocurrency and law programs and all the things. But I created this lane out of a desire to understand how current and future technologies were going to disrupt what I did as an attorney and as an educator, and wanting certainly to remain relevant in my own right, but also to train the next wave of lawyers to be conversant in technology and to be ready to represent clients in this fourth industrial revolution. And that is certainly happening across industries and sectors. And so I can imagine you're working with people now who have some skin in the game, have some years in the game, and are trying to figure out, I've heard about artificial intelligence and machine learning and
Hmm.
automation disrupting everything, and blockchain and crypto. What does that mean for me? I have this current expertise. I've been doing this maybe 10 years, 15 years or more. If you're Gen X like me, I'm young on the outside, but I'm very Gen X on the inside. And so how people are thinking about the future of work and even what that term means to you. What is the future of work, and how are you helping your clients to prepare for the future of work?
Absolutely. So one of the key things that we focus on is when it comes to technological skills or technical skills. We're shifting to a very digital kind of space on a go forward. If you think
Hmm.
about what work used to be, 5 or 10 years ago, there wasn't all this work from home and virtual opportunity. There may have been some of that, but not to the degree today. And then with the pandemic, that has just exploded. A lot of companies are shifting completely to remote work, or maybe, after the vaccine, maybe it's 70-30. But a
Right.
lot of companies are not going to go back to the traditional every, 5 days a week, we're all in the office. And so when it comes to the future of work, that's really at the forefront, is making sure your technical skills are in order and making sure that you can remain relevant when companies are looking to hire. Because if they
Right.
need someone in a remote position, if they need somebody, to manage things, manage collaboration across cities, you need to be prepared for that if you want to get that opportunity. So it's really about shoring up those technical skills. And there's so much information that's widely available now that you don't have to wait for a company to tell you this is the skills that we need. You can look online
Mm.
right now and see, well, what are companies looking for? And so those are some of the conversations that I have with clients. But it's also, when I think about the future of work, it's not even just about the virtual or the digital. It's also just about being able to collaborate effectively with other people when you're not, when you're not in a room with them. And yes, you
Mm.
can have the technical platform there, but do you know how to interface with somebody that you can't see every day? Someone, because you don't get do-overs. When you're in a
Right.
meeting and somebody says something, you could pull them to the side, or you can have a follow-up discussion. But with these virtual meetings, if you say something right then, you don't have those do-overs. So you have to be thoughtful in the conversation. You have to be more deliberate and intentional when you're communicating with others and driving collaboration. So that's one of the things that come to mind. And then one thing that I'm passionate about is leadership. I'm
Hmm.
so passionate about leadership. And so I have clients that I'm coaching with leadership as well. And it's about, how are you managing your teams, and how are you making sure that you're continuing to motivate them, to coach them, to develop them in an environment where you can't just call them into the office and you sit down, or at your desk with, and they're sitting on the other side and you can provide some development. How are you continuing to do that when people have whole lives that they're managing? How are you making sure that you're not losing sight of these folks, and making sure you can still motivate them and keep them going when it seems like the whole world is beating them down with COVID? They may have sick
Right.
relatives, their children may have gotten sick, and the children's school is a mess. And how are you making sure that you're keeping a pulse on that, and providing the necessary coaching, but also caring for your employees? They're not numbers,
Mm.
they're true human beings with lives. And then the last thing, that I want to mention here is just about the flexibility. Companies as a whole, they need to be more sensitive now that, hey, we may not go back to working in an office. So how can we make sure that people have the flexibility in their schedules to better manage their life on a go forward? Because again, if your kids are working from home, or going to school from home, what do you have to do in that sense? What flexibility do companies need to offer parents, or people who are now having to care for relatives who may have gotten sick and not recovered? And, what flexibility are companies offering so that employees can feel like they can be effective and get their job done, but they
Right.
don't have to worry about the commute, or they don't have to worry about all these other pieces, because they have the flexibility when they need it. So there's just so much right now when it comes to the future of work, that it's important for companies and leaders and organizations to think through, but also as individual professionals, making sure that that we have the relevant skills, and we're staying up to date, and we're being vocal with our management about the support that we need in this virtual setting, because what you may need in the office, it may be more difficult when you're at home. So it's on us as well to make sure that we're sharing with our management what our needs are, from a development and coaching perspective.
If you're an engineer or a scientist, you love Formula One, you love cycling, you love learning about how new technologies are changing the world around us, then I thought you may want to listen into my new podcast, the Neil Ashton Podcast. We talk to leading engineers and scientists from around the world, hear about their life stories, hear about new technologies, and hopefully educate you and give you a better sense of how key things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, supercomputing are changing the world around us. If that sounds like it's something you might like, you should come and have a listen.
We hope you're enjoying this edition of Tech Intersect. Our conversation will continue in a moment, but first, a word on an exciting opportunity.
There's a more cost-effective and time-efficient way to reach your leading-edge learning and earning goals, to put you ahead of the stiff competition in this fast-paced, tech-driven economy. You need skills, credentials, and a fast track to a competitive advantage. You need it now more than ever, and I can help. The Advantage Evans method puts you ahead of the curve with condensed, comprehensive online courses, curated content to leverage your current skills and expertise, live coaching, networking opportunities, and more. Upcoming courses include From Cash to Crypto to help you buy your first Bitcoin, and there are 2 ways to get your advantage. Advantage Evans Encore gives you maximum experience for your total competitive advantage and access for 1 year. It includes a live welcome and modules on terminology, buying and selling, exchanges, mining, earning crypto, trading and investing, and also several of the legal issues you need to know in order to be safe and secure as you enter this space. That includes tax compliance, how to plan for a Bitcoin estate, and securities laws to make sure you avoid any legal unforced errors. Now, Advantage Core gives you the essentials. It's a short course to give you what you want and the support you need to buy your first crypto in as little as 3 weeks, with access to the information and replays for 3 months. And if you're not quite ready for your Advantage and want a sneak peek to try before you buy, then register for a free masterclass where I share my Crypto 101 success checklist and cover current hot topics in crypto. So there truly is something for everyone, including you, to get in on the fast track and learn and earn in the digital economy. Visit AdvantageEvans.com to get started. That's AdvantageEvans.com.
And now, back to the conversation.
Such great information and advice and awareness as I look around in my bunker, also known as my studio and my office. And I see in the distance my treadmill and my weights and my huge TV, and in the back of me, my kitchen. And it's about, in what ways can I create the space to work efficiently and effectively while maintaining my sanity when I'm in this space, and also respecting my own personal boundaries. So certainly asking of and setting up with an employer what you need in order to deliver and to be productive and to be happy and good citizens of that particular culture, and also for us to respect our own boundaries. And it leads me to a thought. I'm wondering if some of your clients have also expressed a certain level of fatigue, and fatigue that certainly would include video conferencing fatigue, but even beyond that, about managing and pivoting and operating as if everything is an 11 alarm fire, because that's the nature of 2020, and what advice you've given to them, which is kind of not either or, but both and, to take care of career and pivot, to move forward with purpose and with passion, but also to be mindful of self-care. Is that coming up in your conversations as well?
Absolutely. The one thing I try to remind my clients, and I'd like to remind your listeners as well, you're not a machine. You are not built or designed to work 24 hours a day or to be on call 24 hours a day. That's not how your body's designed. Your body's designed to rest, to recoup, to recharge in order for you to work at peak performance levels. You can't go all day every day. It's just not feasible or sustainable in the short term or long term. So that's one of the first things I'd like to say. And so what I've also told my clients is that it's important for you to, going back to that point of being vocal with your management. They can't help you if they don't know what's going on with you. So if you're just like, yep, I can take on all the work, just keep dumping it on me. But but you're stressed out, you're working all hours, migraines, headaches, sick, whatever the case is, and then just low morale. All of that's going to show up in the work. So what good is doing the work if you can't do it well, if you can't execute at a high level? And then when your brain isn't functioning, it takes you so much longer to do things because your brain isn't processing any more information. So it's up to you to make sure that you're having a conversation with your management about, what work needs to be done versus what's nice to do and can be done later. That way you know how to prioritize, and then you can set the right boundaries. And I love that you talked about boundaries. It's on us to help set boundaries, because if we don't set them, people will walk all over them. If you don't block your calendar for personal time, if you don't take your PTO, if you don't even take your lunch break, people will walk all over that because people are thinking about their own lives. They may not be thinking about, what you need. So it's on us to make sure that we're setting the right boundaries. So, I'll tell folks, it's like, hey, if you know that you can't be productive at this time, or you need this time for yourself, block your calendar and see if there's an opportunity for you to shift meetings, unless it's a true, 5-alarm fire or something where you have to meet with everyone. But if it's something that's a nice to have, shift that meeting around, protect the places on your calendar so that you just have time for peace. Take your lunch break. Even if you just walk away and you take some time to just breathe, even if you don't even want to eat anything, but you just want to be away from your computer, look out the window, breathe in some fresh air. And then, as I mentioned, take your time off. You've earned it. It's part of your benefits package. Even people think that they have to be going somewhere, have to be going on vacation in order to take PTO. It's called paid time off. It means it's time off that you get paid for. So take the time off and get paid for it, because, like I said, it's something that you've earned, and we can't function effectively if we never give ourselves a break. So please, please, please prioritize your self-care, and take your time off that you need.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. That is Julia's TED Talk. Thank you for coming. Boundaries on boundaries on boundaries. I love it. She's actually just speaking to me, but evidently you all are beneficiaries of this information as well. So thank you for that. One thing, as I think about different technological tools and the advent of social media and how to leverage social media in a professional realm, LinkedIn obviously is at the top of the list as people navigate. How do I, get the word out there? How do I expertise myself? How do I connect with potential employers or clients, et cetera? And so I know that you have done a lot of work and writing on tips that people can use to leverage LinkedIn, maybe refresh it, how to use it professionally, because even if somebody technically throws up a profile, they may not necessarily know how to navigate it. And so I'm wondering if you can offer some suggestions or tips for the listeners in that regard.
Now, Tanya, I love talking about LinkedIn. So I'm like cracking my knuckles over here and just shrugging my shoulders and getting ready for this, because I love talking about LinkedIn, simply because it's such a great platform and offers so much opportunity. I know that even for myself, I haven't even tapped into half of it. Right. So I'll share some tips first just on the profile piece, and then navigating it, because you want to make sure that if you're navigating it and people come to your profile, they have something worthwhile to look at. Right. So let's talk about that first. Your LinkedIn profile is not designed to be a copy and paste of your resume. It's designed to be a place that's telling your full career story and giving insight into who you are and the value that you offer. And so you want to be thoughtful as you put that profile together. So when it comes to your headline or your about section, take time to think about if they're looking at 100 profiles and I want them to pick me, what do I need to say to them in order to grab their attention? What's the value of the results that I've delivered that will resonate with them, that will either spark a conversation or spark them to, read the rest of the profile, whatever it may be. So it's so critical that you have the right headline, the right about section, or the summary section there that gives more insight. But also, even when it comes to the work experience, people will just copy and paste their what's on their resume, those bullet points. But again,
Right.
LinkedIn gives you so much more space for you to expand on, well, what is it that you did, and capture more of the accomplishments that you've had. You can highlight links or documents that came out of that job role. So really take the time to expand on that. And just two other things about the profile I want to talk to real quick is that
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you have your cheerleaders. So whether it's your skills, your skill endorsements, and also your recommendations. If you want someone to see you as an expert for whatever role you're trying to apply for, it's important that you're not the only person talking about yourself, that other people are
Right.
talking about you. So making sure that you are getting your cheerleaders to endorse your skills and also write recommendations about you. And then the last piece is that at the bottom there's an accomplishment section where you can put in, anything from patents to publications to courses to projects. So you want to make sure that you're leveraging that as well, and you're not burying everything in your job description, giving people a sense of, here are all the things I've accomplished. I mean, if you've got a patent, that shouldn't be just buried in your job experience. That needs to be called out as to what sets you apart from everyone else. So
Right.
just some quick tips on the profile optimization. Then if we think about navigating the platform, remember that LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's a social networking platform. So if you just have a profile and you never go on it, you don't engage with anyone's content, you can't be surprised when no one's reaching out to you, you're not getting opportunities. So the
Right.
true way that I tell people to navigate LinkedIn is instead of just sending out cold invitations, make sure that you're actually engaging with the content of the people you want to connect with, decision makers, recruiters, hiring managers, whoever it may be. Start to interact with their content before you even send out anything. And if you're an entrepreneur, if there are partnerships you want to work with or brands or what have you, making sure
Mm-hmm.
that you're reaching out to the individuals in those organizations. And from a organic perspective, start some dialogue in their comments or, on their posts or what have you. And that way, when you send out a connection request, it's not cold. You can reference the conversation you were having, and you're more likely to gain some traction and build a worthwhile relationship as well. And then if you're a job seeker, and also for folks who own businesses, you should make sure that you're putting content out there as well. You don't want to just come to the platform and kind of take. You want to
Right.
provide value as well so that people can connect with your content, but also it shows the people that you're interested in. It shows them that you have the knowledge about your particular subject. So, if you're going into, let's say it's crypto, let's say that there's some role that you want to get hired for, there's a partnership that you want to have in that space, you posting about, what's happening in the crypto space, industry trends, research that you've done, all of that helps to let people know that, hey, you've got the expertise in this space.
Right.
And then the last piece I'll mention is there are so many groups on LinkedIn for just about anything. If you're a tech professional in Atlanta, there's a group for tech professionals in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So leverage the group so that you can find like-minded people, make fast relationships and collaborate and see what opportunities can come from that. But I'll recommend to everyone, remember that LinkedIn is a networking platform. Don't go on there with just the intention of, I just want to see if I can get a job. It's about building relationships organically first, and you'll be surprised how quickly things can come out of it if you look like you're actually trying to build relationships rather than just being an opportunist.
I am so hyped right now. I'm not even looking for a job. And the minute we finish this, I'm going on to my LinkedIn and making sure I'm doing all the things, thanks to you.
I'm so good. Like I said, I was just like, I love LinkedIn. I'm so happy we're talking about this.
I literally hear you smiling through this connection. So I can tell, and I'm certain that the listeners can tell. And speaking of the listeners, I'm now transitioning to how because I know if I'm on fire, they're on fire listening, and what next steps might be to put them in the position to really take advantage of the services that you offer. So in particular, the job search strategy services. I know you're interested in sharing an extra incentive to Tech Intersect listeners to come on board. So talk to us about that service and the opportunities for listeners to take advantage.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So that service, so I offer a job search strategy session. That's an hour-long session where we really take a step back to understand, before we get into resume and interviewing, what are you trying to achieve in your job search? Where are you trying to go? What companies do you want to work for? What goals do you have? We take that hour and really try to break that down so that that's the foundation for your roadmap of getting to that end career goal and getting that salary that you want. So through that hour, like I said, we'll talk through what it is that you're looking for and the goals you have. And then can we create a rough sketch of, well, what are the next steps for you past this point? And so that hour-long session is typically $199, but for your viewers, I have dropped the price to $149, so $50 off. And the way that they can take advantage of that is going to bit.ly/RCD. So for Rock Career Development, the acronym RCD job strategy. And once they go there, they'll be able to book the session, and the discount code is TECH50. And so I would love to share that with your listeners. And so this is an exclusive discount just for your listeners. I'm not offering this anywhere else because I want to make sure that professionals who are in this space, especially if they're trying to pivot, that they can talk through what their job search should be right now and have the right roadmap so to take them forward so they can get the career that they're looking for.
It's really exciting and very generous, and I appreciate it. And I know listeners will appreciate it as well. I will drop that link in the show notes along with the discount code TECH50 so that you can take advantage of this fantastic offer, particularly as we round out 2020 and you really start to think, where do I want to be 1 year from now, 3 years from now? 5 years from now? The life that you are creating for yourself in the future begins today. And it's all about the investment or what you're sowing into yourself so that you can realize your fullest potential in the future. And it's not about doing it alone and in isolation. There are professionals who are ready, willing, and able to help get you to that next level so you can fully realize all of your talents. The reason that you're on this earth, we're all, sitting down and giving pause to and reflecting on where we are this year and where we want to be. This is a fantastic opportunity, and this is the right time to really take stock and an inventory of your professional career and figure out where you want to be going forward. Julia C. Rock, look, I'm going to just call you Rock because you rocked it, and you are the real deal. And I looked up at the time, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to send her back to her real life. I thank you so much for taking time out in this moment to share this with me. And I want you to leave listeners with how they can learn more about you and your work and connect with you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Tanya. I'm so glad that we had a chance to have this conversation. This was so much fun. I didn't even realize how much time had passed. I'm just here chatting away. So thank you again. If folks want to get in touch with me, so our website is www.rockcareer.com. So you can go to our website, book a consult. You can just review our services. But then, I'm pretty social on social media, so I would love to connect with your listeners. From a business standpoint, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rock Career. So I keep it pretty simple and consistent across platforms. But if you want to talk to me and kind of also from a personal perspective, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Julia Rock. So there are a couple of different ways that folks can get in touch with me.
Perfect. Well, first, I'm going to LinkedIn, and then second, I'm going to Twitter to give you all your flowers. Thank you again. This is the first, but it won't be the last. I'm really grateful to count you among the folks that I think very highly of and that I look forward to building with in the future.
Absolutely. And thank you again. I'm so honored that you picked me to be here, and I'm looking forward to many more of these conversations. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Wow, I am so grateful for this episode. I hope you are too. Julia shared some invaluable advice, inspiration to get you to reimagine your career goals, to invigorate your job search and yourself, especially in the midst of a pandemic. Y'all, we are moving into the winter months and times that may prove to be even more challenging physically, mentally, and emotionally. The only thing we can control is ourselves, so take time to reinvest in you. Review your LinkedIn profile and connections for starters, and make sure it highlights your skills and credentials in addition to the positions you've held. And if you're looking to pivot, learn what skills and credentials are in demand and enroll in an online course now. If you're considering, of course, a field that's impacted by cryptocurrencies and blockchain, you know where to come. Visit me at advantageevans.com to learn what you need to succeed. And in any other area, definitely follow up on Julia's offer. $50 off a job strategy search session with our Tech Intersect discount code TECH50. Okay, final housekeeping notes. As always, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this episode and this podcast with your networks. It really, really does make a difference to make sure that others who are looking for this exceptional programming from my guests reaches the critical mass of people who need to receive it. Follow me on social medias and let me know what topics you'd like to hear more of and who you'd like to hear more from. All right, that's all for this episode. Until next time, continue to shine.
Stay in touch with host Tanya Evans via your favorite social media. On Twitter at Tech Intersect and on Instagram via the handle Tech Intersect. This podcast has been produced by Stephanie Renee for Soul Sanctuary Incorporated.